Sharing in the bliss that we all have, the gift of eternal life with your consciousness. Sharing in the bliss that we all have, the gift of eternal life with your consciousness. Sharing in the bliss that we all have, the gift of eternal life with your consciousness.
Hello, lovely people. It is a beautiful day here. I'm back at the meeting place of heaven and earth. I would show you Mount Shasta, but she's covered in clouds today and snow. God and Goddess, thank you so much for safe travels and the ability to have fellowship in Florence with the Mother Temple and be able to help with the different Megillah projects and the dissemination of the Megillah as well. Please help us all to remember why we came to this earth, enlighten us, illuminate our path so that we can walk that path and also help illuminate the path for others. Show us the steps to take, show us how to plant seeds in love and kindness so that they will grow and blossom into beautiful trees of goodness. Help us to make this world a golden age paradise and remember all of the great blessings that you have given us. Thank you so much for everything, even in the cold weather. Thank you for the ability to stay warm and for the ability to have the food and the water and all of the things that we need. In the name of Elohim, I pray gratefully. Amen. Today on the Nasrian calendar, let me get to the right screen. It is Humanity Day, the 4th day. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Just kidding, it's the 5th day. I must not have clicked that. Sorry about that. There we go. It is Heritage Day. I've been MIA for a few days, so I apologize about that. Our God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent, send to all your angel of peace. May wisdom guide us as we accept or reject things from the past. May wisdom bless all that we pass on to the future. May your angel of wisdom bless all that we pass on to the future. Help us to know what are good things and what are the bad things that we need to do away with. Today, I just wanted to read to you a poem from this book called Green Wizard Poetry by Day of Greenleaf. And this poem is called I Am Being, We Are Being, Sat-Chit-Ananda. Where I come from has no limit. What I am has no bound. The all before geometry, before first square, first round. Before spatial consideration, before up, before down, before vibratory signatures, before light, before sound. Before sex differentiation, before she, before he. Before first emanation, before us, before we. First orgasm of realization, Yah declares, I am. Self-awareness of awareness. I am knows I am. I am being. I am seeing. I am seeing being. I am being seeing. I see, I be, I see. First answer to first question, what am I? I am. First awareness of first condition, being, I am. The first answer birthed bliss, the first feeling of Yah. 'Twas in the bliss of I am, Yah extended as Jah. First question and first answer, both birthed by divine mind. Divine mind asks and answers. Divine mind seeks and finds. Divine mind moved by interest. By interest, latent mind was aroused. For within the undifferentiated one, latent differentiation was housed. Divine mind and divine heart, two aspects of the whole one. Latent he, latent she, the two that are one. Latent traits made manifest, Yah emanates heart and mind, divine she and divine he, divine lovers entwine. Existence, consciousness, bliss, I am, and that I want to share. Sat-Chit-Ananda, the gift of life. I'll share life everywhere. But how to create my children? How to share the gift of life? To expand Sat-Chit-Ananda, Yah emanated a husband and wife. From Yah, both poles emanate, poles of masculine and female spin. Crowned in Yah, they form a trinity, genderless Yah, king Yang, queen Yin. From this creative trinity, the creative dance will begin. Tantric electromagnetism, the spiral dance of her and him. That dance began with planning. She and he first met to plan. This meeting of head and heart conceived a fertile divine plan. A divine plan, a spiral dance, conceived by Jah and Jala, a universe in which beings are governed by mercy and law. Two sides of one divine plan, justice and mercy side by side, encoded in the fabric of being, karma from which you can't hide. Thanks be to Jah and Jala for a merciful divine plan. Justice gives the nod to mercy. That nod is the heart of the plan. Jah created free beings, each given life through grace, each enrolled in the cosmic school. The campus is time and space. Free to make our own choices, whether right or wrong. Free to fall into hellish circumstances. Free to rise in heavenly song. You, O reader, are such a one. Your campus is time and space. No matter how high you climb, give thanks for divine grace. You are a free being, free to follow divine will or rebel. By your thoughts, words, and deeds, you create your own heaven or hell. Your campus is temporal and spatial, but your existence is here and now. Your crown is eternal I am, known when in humility you bow. Jah and Jala in wisdom planned, they knew how things would be. They knew the potential for great pain, should they create each being free. That is why Jah emanated the first daughter and first son, the Lord Christ and his lady, two messiahs in union one. They are the hands of mercy outstretched to every hell, reaching to rise up every soul, even those who in freedom fell. They visit realms so hellish that war and crime are the norm. Messiahs of heavenly light, in mortal bodies, take form. Let there be light is their mantra, for healing they chant and pray. Ascension by kindness is their teaching, repentance and forgiveness their way. You, O reader, choose this incarnation, on purpose or by karmic gravitation. Why come to such a violent way station? Why here for your incarnation? None come here by chance, to this world that began as a heaven, a world that was attacked by 666 and fell out of 777. You came because you resonate with the 666 vibration, or you came to help raise this world back to heavenly vibration. Heavenly, sevenly vibration, 777. Chant this mantra now. Heaven, heaven, heaven. Let all those in dark illusion, souls enslaved by dark delusion, reject now Luciferian intrusion. Embrace spiritual evolution. Join the Christ family solution. Be holy, purity without pollution. Holy insight amidst illusion, holy truth within a delusion, holy way amidst confusion. B. Holy natural refuse cyborg transmutation, holy lions of the Nasrian nation, holy soldiers in nonviolent revolution, holy warriors of spiritual evolution. B. The salt of the earth and heavenly leaven, the holy remnant in Armageddon, the expression of 777, the expressions of heaven, heaven, heaven. See the fallen who have risen, with the ascended now stand, initiates of the three roses, the Lord and Lady's own band. See the order of the blue rose, blossoming in the last. Oh, sorry about that. I'm not sure why my phone is cutting off there. See the fallen who have risen, with the ascended now stand, initiates of the three roses, the Lord and Lady's own band. See the order of the blue rose, blossoming in the last days, shining light in the darkness, sharing the Essene ways. See a world in heavenly transformation, souls in spiritual transmutation, countless heavenly manifestations, joyful victory celebrations. I be, you be, we be being. We be being victorious. I be, you be, we be seeing. We be seeing, we are us. I be, you be, we be feeling. We be feeling glorious. That's what's in store for us. Sat-Chit-Ananda is victorious. Not only is it good for us, Sat-Chit-Ananda in truth is us. That is what we are, existence, consciousness, and bliss at a core level, because that is the divine spark of Yah. That is I am, that is you are, that is we are, that is that divine flame that is in all of us that makes us one. We are one, but we also have individuality in that unity, which makes it really beautiful, right? We get to be together, but we also get to express ourselves. We get to have our favorite colors and have our style and all of these different aspects that make us unique, while also being a part of the divine family, which isn't just humanity of every color, but it's also the trees, the animals, all of these things that are around us that so often we feel disconnected from, but realistically we are not. The divine spark of life runs through all of creation, and it is what we are. Kind of leads into the poem that I wrote today with this meme that I created, and I'm going to put it up here on screen. Did I just say poem? I meant to say post. Um, and it was cool because I had the idea of making Uncle Sam into a lion, and then I realized that the US is it's interesting how they take the programming of this unified army, join the us army. As you can see, I'm trying to put it back to where it belongs. It's the us army. It is the army of all of us standing together in love, rather than a divided army, you versus us, like you versus s kind of type programming that they are trying to push. So join the us army today, not to be confused with the you versus us or US Army, and not associated with any political group, race, or country. We are Nazareans, and we are citizens of the great garden, here to restore it from its fallen state. We stand united and ready to boldly defend the Mother Earth and her inhabitants from those who follow the way of death. We wage nonviolent warfare against those who seek to kill, steal, and destroy. Will you join us? Will you help restore Eden's paradise? Together we stand, together we rise. It's the army of us, it's the army of we, fighting for love with empathy. I love the story of Peter Hoppen and how he would wage war against the hunters and fishers by going and disrupting the waters so that the fish would swim away, going and creating false tracks or kind of scaring the air, not necessarily scaring, but getting the animal, leading them one way and putting tracks this way so that the hunters would go and follow them. All of the stories, even when, for instance, Judah is surrounded by these men that are trying to hurt Rafa, um, even in these stories of Zion, where there is physical combat going on, the mentality is never to dominate or to be violent towards this person. It's kind of like a lion that knows its strength and, pins you down and it has its mouth around your neck and it's just like, are you done? And then walks away, right? It's like the lion doesn't need to like kill you to actually prove that it is the lion, right? It's this kind of idea of walking gracefully as that lion and being willing to fight boldly and do what it takes, but also not not killing, right? Knowing that this person that is coming at you for whatever reason, they're still your brother and sister. For me, I'm kind of thinking of it like you are essentially like my child and I'm just going to use my words. I'm going to try to get out of the situation in every way possible before I physically engage with you because it's like a child that believes in Santa Claus. They don't even understand which way is up in this world and they're coming at you violently. It's like you don't need to engage with them in a violent manner. You need to just try to get them to understand that they've been confused, that they're not your enemy, right? It's like, hey, brother, sister, we're on the same team. Like, I'm not really sure who told you this or why you think that, as you're like dodging their sword stabs. But obviously, um there's cases where it talks about using the staff to disarm those that are coming at you with weapons. So it's not just laying down and dying, but it's not going in with this intent of aggression and wanting to dominate or be violent towards another person. And I think that's part of the nonviolent aspect that you know that kind of isn't understood. Some people think that nonviolence is just laying down and letting whatever happen, and that's not the case. We have Zion and all of the lions. I mean, even Miriam was walking around by herself with her staff and her Megillah, and she was trained in Zion. Like she was able to take care of herself if need be. And then we have the tribe of lions, which would literally walk also with the priests and priestesses as they go about. They would help defend the community and all of those different things. So there's a time and place for all of this military and this protective energy that we feel. Um, and just like we see with this whole US Army type thing, this us army, right? They're preying on these desires to protect and serve and all of these things that are natural and then sending humans to go and fight each other over wars that are not even our business, right? Like the people that own or that are running all of the countries are, as we learn in the Holy Megillah, these evildoers working for the devil. And it literally says in the last days you'll know them. They wear many masks, but they are your politicians. They dominate popular religions, etc. So we know who they are regardless of what they're portraying themselves to be. And where's I going with that? Oh, the leaders of all of the different countries make up these, wars. They squabble with each other, they put on a show, they say it's about oil, all these different aspects when realistically it's about getting us to go and hate someone just because they're from another country because our governments tell us to, right? It's like you're a different skin color, you dress funny, let me like you don't deserve to live type mentality. At the same time, holding this a lot of the times, the same people that have those beliefs that are very extreme and wrong, believe that they are, this unsavable sinner that is, desperate for God's just so grateful for Jesus to have died on the cross for their sins. So it's kind of a contradictory thing and yeah, really hard programming that we are working against. But I'm glad that we are here to fight against it. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any light standing against this darkness and it would just consume everything. So as frustrating as it can be, it's important to remember why we came here and remember that we are the heroes in this story. We're the ones that came here to bring light to when crap hits the fan. We're the ones that are going to be able to stand up and be like, all right, come on, everyone, let's get some stuff organized and let's do all of these different things. That's when I think that unfortunately, the kabootsa here will probably be started at during that time because so many people are tied to the matrix system. Even, I mean, if I didn't have the assurance of moving across the country to a stable place where I'm gonna be able to have an income and a house and all these different things, like, I would be hesitant to do that as well, right? And that's understandable. Not everybody is ready to just sell their stuff, get in a RV or their car with a tent and head across the country and just live a different way. And that's kind of what the Nazarenes are about though, because we, especially in these last days, we come into the cities to do our missionary work and then we need to get out of the city and go and be in nature, be amongst the trees, be on the mountain to to be amongst higher vibrations than all of the daily low vibe activities that are going on in this world. But the closer that we get to nature, the better things will be. It might seem really weird. It might be like, oh man, how can we live without electricity or, without some of these conveniences? But the closer that we get to nature, the better off we're going to be, especially in the last days. So I would definitely encourage you to, work on your survival skills as well. I've been posting in the Green Lion Army group on Facebook, different survival tips and things like that. Even some Tai Chi stuff so that people can start doing implementing some of these things in their daily lives. Start planting some stuff, even in a 5-gallon bucket. Different ways that we can start preparing for that stuff now, especially as things in the media. I don't watch media, but I know that the powers that be are accelerating things and amping things up and there's going to be rumors of wars and famine and all these pestilence, all these different things that they have planned for the end times to, well, I mean, there's multiple different reasons ultimately to get towards their new world order, but you have all these people starting to wake up and then all of a sudden hit them with a tidal wave and so that it puts them into survival mode and now they're not thinking about the spiritual things. They're not thinking about the awakening or any of that kind of stuff because they're in survival mode. So it'll be interesting to see what is coming down the pipelines. What we can do is be happy and joyful here and now and try to live in the best way in heaven as we walk in this earth so that we can be examples for other people. That's kind of the name of the game, is trying to convince other people to stop being in hell, to stop creating hell for themselves and others. And it's easier said than done. People will be like, it's a lot of our issues have to do with the fact that we enslave animals. If you enslave animals, then you can karmically be enslaved. Many people know that the powers that be are not fully human and they eat humans sometimes. And things to that extent. The whole point is that The same people that will say, "Don't tell me what to eat," will force animals into very horrible situations, horrible living conditions, horrible dying conditions for a sandwich while saying, "No one ever tell me what to do or else I'm gonna have a big bad attitude problem about it," and they'll cry about it, even though you're actually not telling them what to do. You're just like, "Hey, might wanna just try this burger, like, you wanna try this something different," or, like, they get very emotional about it. Um, but it just goes to show how disconnected we are from reality, and the understanding of what we do to others comes back to us. That is the most direct karmic thing that I've been able to observe for, since I've gone vegan. Even when researching different diseases and stuff, you can literally see how, osteoporosis and different things are attached to the treatment or mistreatment, I should say, of animals. How these situations happen because we're sucking their nutrients out, then we eat those products, and those products suck the nutrients from us, and then we end up with osteoporosis, right? um, different different things like that that are directly correlated or connected to the problems that humans face. It's because our thoughts, words, and deeds have consequences. They're either making the world around us more heavenly, or they are bringing us down. And because of group consciousness, I mean, we're all going one way or the other. Like, we're all struggling together. And so those of us that are pulling up, kinda just makes me feel like I gotta go and do some extra purifying of myself so that I'm even stronger and I can just help pull the group up even more. It's like, "Come on, we are going whether you like it or not." You don't like it right now, but that's because it's kinda like a child that is eating candy for breakfast every morning, and you go in and you're like, "Listen, you are gonna be mad at me right now, but when you have teeth as a 20-year-old, when you don't have diabetes, when all these good things happen, you're gonna be happy. You just don't understand right now because of all of these different factors." So, yeah, including just programming, social programming from the medical industry, programming from religion. That's all on top of the fact that people are unfortunately have opened the door for demons to come in, and those demons attach to you, and then those demons are the ones that are like, "Hey, don't you want to go and eat a little cheeseburger? Don't you want to go and do this evil thing? Don't you want to go and do this?" And then they get you on the slide down the golden ladder, and they will ride it as hard and long as you let them. And it can seem appealing. It can seem like that is the easier way to go. And frankly, this world, it is easier to go down the ladder by design, because the ones that are setting up this system want to pull us down, want us to be degraded, to essentially, they want the ultimate plan, which is Satan's ultimate plan, which is enslaved light. And through making us sick and then giving us different, the wrong medical treatments and all this stuff, then we end up with people that are metallic, that are getting neuralinked, that are gonna upload their consciousness to the cloud and become enslaved light. That's what their ultimate goal is. So many of these deceptions are just going towards that. Someone, oh, I think it was AOD in the comments section, said, um, oh, refused cyber transmutation. Exactly. Yeah, that's what's coming, and we've talked about it before about how they're gonna do, like, the carrot and the stick. It's like, "Hey, if you have any of these diseases, this will help cure you. It'll help you walk again. You could never walk, you could never talk, you could do all these things. Look at this magic pill." Okay, that thing, or not pill, but it's the Neuralink, right? Then they hook you up to that, and for a while, you're like, "Oh, cool, I can move my body again." And then all of a sudden, you're like, "Why is my body moving and I am not wanting it to move? Stop, 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 stop. Why is it?" Things are, because they can literally take control over your body once you let them take control. Like, in some ways, so many people already have allowed them spiritually to take control, right? Being on autopilot, you're just going along with everything that you have done, everything that you've been programmed to do, whatever 9 to 5 routine that you've got going on, the the default is usually again down that golden ladder, and even if it's just a little bit, right? It's not like you're going out and sacrificing human babies and really leaping down that golden ladder, but you're either going up or down. And again, the tendency is going down, and so we have to counteract that. Cool. Dude, says, how is the Megillah project going? I actually have quite a few Megillah projects going. I just finished numbering another one of the new scrolls last night, which was really, really good. I'm so excited to, I can't wait to share them with you. And I haven't even really got to share the whole God spell with you yet. We haven't started reading that. And so I know some people haven't heard any of it at all. And some people aren't doing any homework. You're just relying on me to read for you, and that is going to delay your progress. But that is your choice, and you can do that if you want. But holy cow, reading that book is so good. It is hard for me to put it down. When I wake up in the morning and I feel like doom scrolling, I just was like, okay, let me just read my Bible, and it's so much good stuff in there. It's great. Anyways, so yeah, the projects are going really well, and um, yeah, this past time that I was up there, heard about another project that's going to be getting started soon, which I don't want to say anything because it's not like a public thing yet. But I get to be not only involved with this project, but I get an honorary or an honored rule, and it's just really, really cool. So, um, yeah, there's a lot of new movement because there's like not any tracks or a lot of like study materials, prayer book, a bunch of different stuff that like we have for the mainstream Bible hasn't been created yet for the Megillah. So there's a big window of opportunity, and I'm hoping to. I was going to say cash in, but I'm not interested in making money. I'm interested in spreading the message. All of the I actually already want to have like the nonprofit set up so that the money like when people buy the stuff that I produce, it'll just go back into the projects that I do. It will not come to me on a personal level. Nothing that I do is for my personal gain. I'm 100% dedicated to the mission to making this world a better world, and that I make personal sacrifices for it, and yeah, I it's not for me. But I mean, it is for me to partial because it's part of my soul's mission. And if I don't do it, then I'm going to, the story of in Noah, for instance, Noah gets married and then loses his family and he gets married again. Like he's constantly trying to like live a normal life. I know that I can't do that. And I know that it'll be like if I did try, it would end up like that. I would just end up I can already see in the future far enough to know that if I stopped doing what I'm doing and went and got married and had kids and trust me, that's what I would really love to do. Um, the future just wouldn't work out. Like what life is it for those kids? They're gonna I mean, this man, I have to pull myself back from being jealous of people that are having babies and stuff because like, man, this world is not a good place for kids. Like that would be it'd be really, really hard to navigate this world, especially if you are like me, which you probably are because that's why you're here, and don't want to go along with the normal situation, right? I'm not even when I get pregnant, I'm not going to the doctor. Like, no, none of your business. Stay away from my child. Like, I'm going as natural as possible, and I want my children basically to be raised in the woods, living life, living in harmony with nature, not sitting in a classroom, um, not watching television, not worried about having to, get people are already like worried that their kids are going to be taken from them now with vaccines and all that kind of stuff. You just wait until this Neuralink stuff comes out and then it's like you need to chip your child or else we're going to take it because you're a neglectful parent. I do not wish that on anybody. I hope that people wake up and stop stop procreating. Well, I also look at how the Nassereans would procreate versus how we have this day and age. where people like the Nazarenes would be intentional about it. Like they didn't have surprise pregnancies like they were or like hookup culture, right? These children, especially in the Order of the Immaculate Conception, which we'll talk about, these parents would, these people would literally be purifying themselves and even have prayers and different rituals to do that when they're actually conceiving. They're saying prayers or singing hymns and summoning these higher souls to come into that space. Look at how different it is in this world. Um, so yeah, my tummy's Hey Benjamin, how's it going? Benjamin says amen. Hey Jess says yes, recharge. Hello, brother. Thanks for the this is important topic. That is so true. Kyle says, ooh, that's a cool mug. I got this in San Diego, obviously. And I was gonna, when I was getting ready to come here, I was gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm drinking this mug because I wish would be in San Diego with all this weather. But San Diego is, well, at least was under a winter storm, and even in Reading, they're getting snow today. So it's interesting weather patterns this year. I don't believe any of them are real. They've been modifying the weather for a very long time. We even read in the good book, in the book of Enoch, that when devil was here on Italia, that one of his seraphim was in charge of that weather manipulation, and they would seed clouds or they would prevent rain from happening if they wanted to cause drought or famine, all these different things. So it's been going on for a very, very long time, and yeah, there's nothing new under under the sun. Kyle says, "Don't tell me what to do while I eat a dead animal corpse." Exactly. Don't tell me what to do while I slice this cow's throat. Don't tell me what I do is I'm gonna go kick this dog in the face. That's kind of my go-to one because I think it's horrible to even think about kicking dogs in the face, but why is it okay to slice a cow's throat? But one thing we find so horrific, but the other thing which realistically is worse. You can't come back from getting sliced in the throat. You can come back from a kick in the face. Um, Neither is okay, but still, it's just like the level of insanity around here when we're programmed, and it's all comes down to society and religion, right? Even I remember growing up and hearing about how there was clean and unclean animals, and as a Torah follower, I did that for a while as well. I actually worked at Dunkin' Donuts for a while in 2000, would have been probably 2016. And yeah, like having to I would have a problem with like touching the bacon and sausage. I'm like, oh, this is unclean meat. Now I have a problem with touching any of it because I don't even like usually I try to avoid like contact with people if I'm at the grocery store, especially if I'm alone, because if especially if I'm wearing like my boots and I'm tall, some old lady's gonna be like, "Bring off the top shelf," and I'm like, "I don't wanna touch that." It's like dead animals, it's like bad vibes, like, I don't want that on my being. It's not to say that it's going to, like, tarnish me or that I'm someone said, "Well, I'm more powerful than that," and that's not perception of it, it's just that I don't want to touch evil things, I don't want humans to be involved in I would like, if there was a carcass right here, I wouldn't go and start fumbling around in it and, like, getting covered in blood and guts and all this stuff. I'm not gonna touch it in a wrapper either. Thankfully, this is an organic, uh, tasty chocolate chip, energy bar thing, but either way, you're still touching something evil, and I don't wanna deal with it. TMG says they are disclosing Satan's anti-human agenda as the new AI manifesto. Total human purge. It is pure Satanism. Calls humans an error that must be corrected by fire. Oh, that's so sad. And yeah, we've known that for quite some time, right? That they powers that be call us goyim and try to seed this idea that humanity is, what do you say, calls human an error that must be corrected. Look at how much human behavior is inspired by the same ones that want to convince us that we're the error. It's like, but you like, hey, you're an error. And at the same time, I like am the one that is establishing the political, the religious, the school system that literally trains humans, that, I'm designing the TV, all of these different factions that they do, and then trying to gaslight us and convince us that we're bad. Like, we're capable of a good or bad, and it's really the programming that we're under. If everyone, for instance, still on today. If everyone, for instance, like in the Nazarene school, was taught kindness as a first fruit, look at how much better the world would be, right? And they wouldn't be sent. Well, they would be because they're the Satanists, right? But no one could validly, no divine judgment would say that humans of the Nazarene kibbutza are in error because they're living Yah's way, they're in harmony with it. Of course, we read that, Cain comes along and says, "Nothing good comes from the Nazarene kibbutza," and, like, all this programming. So, of course, they would see us as bad, but judging righteously, it's all about the programming, and even more, anybody can be resurrected no matter how far they have fallen down, not resurrected, but pulled back to the light, or repentance is what I was trying to say. Anyone can repent no matter how far they have fallen, and thinking of humans as an error too in our own programming, or these other programs, like, we don't need to get into it too much, but like the Stanford um project, the Milgram shock thing, the Stanford prison experiment. um, these stories are given to us, and usually we don't question it, and so we leave thinking that these bad things about humans, and then later we see in the unrevealed files that actually the ones that were trying to run the test were manipulating things. They were in the shock experiment, for instance, um, basically pressuring the people to shock. The documents also say that the people that didn't believe that they were actually shocking people were the ones that would crank it up, and if the person actually did believe that they were hurting someone, then they showed hesitation. So different factors from this, even with the prison experiment, I think that they um, basically were told how to act essentially, and it wasn't just, oh, when humans are left up to their own devices, they will imprison each other and do all these horrible things, and they'll shock each other even if they're screaming and in pain and all this. Like, that's not realistically the case. We've been programmed and broken, and all of us are coming from our own places of hurt and healing, and having walls up and different ways to react to people and stuff like that. But realistically, at the end of the day, we all want love, and we all, yeah, that's all that we're all looking for, and trying to, either be defended against not having that, guarded against it, or not being raised right to express ourselves. All these different factions, like, we all just need to be compassionate and kind, and understand that our fellow brothers and sisters, like, they are not our enemies. The powers that be want us to think that they are. They're gonna say they're a different religion than you, they're a different color than you, they're different from a different country, all of these different things to make us think that each other is our enemies, and that's not the case. So hopefully we can spread more seeds of unity and keep our own kids clear, even as advanced as we might be. There might be something that comes along that is really triggering for us, maybe some unhealed wounds that we have ourselves. And it's like, "What?" And then you might start to get sucked into whatever that contention, or, uh, you know, when they try to, like, pit us against each other, males and females, right? And they'll be like, "Males did this," and then it's just like, "Wah," or you'll see a post of a male saying something that, like, triggers girls, and they're like, "This," and like, "It's your fault." "No, it's your fault." Just all of these things, we all have our own different triggers that can pull us in, so it's really important that we are aware of that, and taking steps to essentially heal ourselves so that we aren't triggered by these things, so that still zero, that stillness of Yah comes with us wherever we go. Like, all of this turbulence going on around us, but it's like, no, my ship is firmly anchored here, and that those don't bother me, those turbulence waves, that those emotions, those attached, right? All these different factors, like, I'm in heaven, so I don't know who's tapping on my window trying to disrupt my heaven, but you better go find another door to knock on, sister or brother, because I am just too happy. Of course, we don't wanna just be, like, you know, ignorant to the things that are going on around us, but it is important that we're mentally in that place of happiness and love, so that when we go and try to preach to the world around us and help our fallen brothers and sisters, we don't get sucked in or take on that heavy emotion or all that stuff, especially empathetic people, right? We'll start feeling that energy and then leave with that energy still attached, and instead of bringing things up. So, oh, hello, Gene, how's it going? Okay, let me just skim here. I'm not planning on staying on very long today, although I've already been on for an hour. I think I can't. The masses are demonically possessed in many ways, bound to various addictions, drugs, food, porn, whatever method. These are addicts that need to be cleansed, to cleanse of their demons. I agree with that. JH, how's it going? People are also riddled with parasites, worms, pathogens, and toxins. Exactly. Some might say that those parasites are, the demonic entities as well, manifesting in physical form to some extent. But you're so right. And like David, he says it's so many different ways that, like, we're in a room full of doors, and unfortunately, almost every door is a trap door that's going to start that downward spiral. There are plenty of other doors to heavenly realms. They're just not the ones that are the world is putting into our place. Realistically, if you want those heavenly doors, you're probably going to find them out in the woods and being in nature, doing your daily communions and all of those different things that raise you up and get you a little bit closer to heaven. David D says they can use artificially elevated voltage to hijack control over the human brain once Neuralink is installed. Exactly. Satan's minions love using snow to cause depression and frustration in humans. Definitely. I can definitely feel that. Speaking of, in the Green Lion Army group, I just posted yesterday, excuse me, or the day before, some survival shelter tips. Probably not gonna be able to see very well. Survival shelter tips for emergency weather, and also some really interesting tips about how to stay warm without power. One of the ones I that was kind of fun to me was not to put a blanket over your head. Like, you'll be tempted to put a blanket over your head, but your breathing will cause dampness in the blanket, which will help lose heat. So they're saying to kind of wrap your head but leave your mouth open. But different ways, even with like hanging curtains and blankets and stuff, that I thought were really interesting ways to help conserve heat, especially if you live in a place like me. And who knows, the powers that be could literally cut the power at any time, and we would all just be sitting here like, "Ah," right? Especially if you don't have a wood burning stove or a generator or a number of different factors. So it's always important to be prepared. And I mean, even if you don't live in a place like me, look at Redding, look at San Diego, these places, even in Southern California, that are experiencing more winter weathery conditions that normally don't, right? They could literally seed a snowstorm over you in the Bahamas if they wanted, right? So cool. JH says, how do we react to someone like, sorry, my screen is not showing me properly. But the question is, how do we react to someone like Epstein? That's a hard one, especially when it comes to souls that are doing evil. I don't personally believe the mainstream narrative regarding Epstein. I think that there's a lot of deception and misinformation and um, corruption involved with that, in that someone, typed these stories to get normal humans to ingest them and have all of these perverted things about children in their mind. But that being said, when we do have these evildoers that are running our world and doing this, for me at least, I am trying to take the Nasserean approach and understanding that these souls are really, really lost and really far down that ladder of being. And so for me, I am okay with saying what you are doing is not right. And the only way to get you to stop doing that behavior is to get you to see that that is wrong, and essentially to help heal you from whatever got you in that position to begin with. Because no one just wakes up someday and decides that they're going to do any of these absolutely evil things, right? There's a trail of progression that got them there, whether it maybe started from them being abused as a child, which is very often the case, or from pornography when they open that door and the demon whispers, let's watch something that's more extreme or more young, and they click on it and they allow that ladder or that spiral to happen. Um, there's always a reason, and I'm not justifying it at all. Definitely do not get me wrong. I think that understanding that reason and trying to help that person heal is the way that we go. Um, for them and for us, because if we send out curse energy towards that soul, then our actions, our thoughts, words, and deeds either uplift us or bring us down fundamentally. That's before it even touches the outside world, right? Before it even thinks about impacting other people around us, it's either bringing us up or us down, and then in turn the person that we're talking to is either going to be uplifted or brought down as well. So it's really important, especially if you care about your own karma, that you always choose the loving path. And that's not to be like a doormat or walked on or whatever. But it's to show up in love and kindness in a way that is going to help the situation instead of hurt it. Like if you are doing something evil and I just sit here and like send curse energy at you, what is that actually doing? Like, first of all, you don't even know that I exist. So you're just bopping along doing your thing, totally oblivious to it. It's not like it's getting your attention to me to get you to stop, right? That's just me sending out curse energy all day long. And again, that that's that's bad for us. So um yeah, it's definitely a new approach for me to try to be loving and kind and understanding of people um in a deeper way. I've always been attracted to psychology and trying to understand why people do the things that they do. But I definitely have not always been so loving and kind, and I definitely credit the Holy Megillah with softening me up and really trying to, or really helping me become who I am. Remember that Sat-Chit-Ananda, that existence, consciousness, and bliss that we come from, that love that we are, the unity that we share with everybody. So Epstein and he says Epstein and Bill Gates discussed using the clot shot as a way to get rid of poor people. Yes, there's a lot of speak like that, and just different. There was some sort of video from, I think it was Elon Musk's like ex-girlfriend or something. I don't know, a blonde one. I don't know their relationships, whatever. But basically they in passing were saying something like about the world's population being reduced very quickly, relatively soon. Even with COVID, who knows what the real numbers were, and obviously there was multiple different factors of, miss medical What is the word? Malpractice. That's probably a better word. Medical malpractice, which was, yeah, I mean, it's all part of the thing. And who knows how many people after those jabs have really serious problems, how many die in the years after that never actually get attributed to that problem, and then it just, yeah, we never even get told about the real thing. So anyways, yeah, the powers that be want to kill us off, and all of the political people on both sides are part of it. Trump literally brags about being the father of the jab. 100% in on it. The other side, all about the masks and other. I mean, they're both sides are both. It's a bird flapping its wings to get to the new world order, and it needs both wings to be able to move. Otherwise, it would just be flapping one wing, right? It needs that back and forth, the right, left march towards the new world order. Otherwise, nothing happens. So they polarize us. They try to It's very interesting, like, one of the most fascinating things I think about that the political polarization is that on one side, we have people that claim to be pro-life while being the biggest baby killers of every other species, and then another group that these are just generalizations, but they've tried to get the left to be, vegan, um, and then pro-abortion, right? And so it's just, like, both being pro baby killing, but against the baby killing of the other baby killers. Yeah, crazy. Anyways, that's all to say that we shouldn't be trusting any political figures. No one on television is your friend if they are in the mainstream news, if they are a president, if they are in a big position of politics, they are not your friend. If they are a big influencer, they're not your friend. Like, all of these people are not designed to they're not there to be your friend. They're there to misguide and control and manipulate and all these different factors. So hopefully people wake up and ask for discernment. Praying for discernment is important. Maybe I'll start adding that to my prayers. Hey Dave, how's it going? So many cool ways to flourish off grid. Build a solar generator that can power a well or filtered river pump for cheap. Survival tips you post are useful. Thanks. Yeah, and that's a really great idea too. A solar generator that can power a well or even a river pump. If well, yeah. In the future, I would love to actually I've seen people creating like a creek almost through their garden so that it is self-sufficient. There's different ways that you can even reuse the bath water and other water that is uh, useful to to fuel your plants, right? JH says that solar and hydroxygen is brilliant for off-grid. Cool. We definitely agree with the solar. I don't know much about the hydroxygen, but I know that in the book of Enoch, it talks about blessed civilization has us all living off of the solar energy, and we need to return to that instead of using all these unnatural means to power our reality that are not just hurting, but you know, they're hurting the earth to dig up these resources. They're hurting the earth with harmful frequencies and vibrations and all these disharmonious energies that are being blasted out that we're usually not very sensitive to, but the animals definitely can feel it. They're not the wild animals especially. We're very in tune, and yeah, it's kind of funny how people think that animals are so dumb, but usually they're judging it off of domesticated animals, and unfortunately, domesticated animals have been bred that way. It's not like they want the most intelligent creatures to to like, the most intelligent creatures aren't gonna be sitting in your home wagging their tail waiting for you, slobbering for you to get home. Like, they're gonna be out in the wild doing intelligent creature things. Like, sorry, no matter how great you are, that's just not how animals work, that are not broken. So yeah. The whole point was of like dogs especially, it's just like, come be my best friend. Don't do your own thinking. I'm gonna think for you. Like, your survival skills in the wild are gonna be 0 because you're not bred for that. So, um, anyways, I'm gonna jump off of here and go get some of my work done. I have so many that things that are needed and things that are wanted. And yeah, I'm excited to start getting more things done. I am still working on the God spell, getting all of the, at least for the first few chapters, the slides ready so that I have a jump start so that when I start reading, I can just kind of keep ahead of the slides and continue on. So I'm really excited about that, especially the first few chapters is going to be cool to, for those of you who haven't read it. Um, Kind of understanding the difference between, the Order of the Immaculate Conception, for instance, and this Immaculate Conception that we hear about in the mainstream, where Mary just wakes up one day and, I mean, how did she even know that she was pregnant? Did she feel the baby kicking? Was she spotting? Like, what was the actual, like, what anyways, minor details. But crazy difference between this mythical, this fantastical, version of God forcing a woman pregnant, essentially, which, I mean, she was a willing participant, right? She saw it as an honor, but still, it wasn't like she chose to do it. Um, we're gonna learn about in the Nazarene order of the Immaculate Conception, how it was definitely a choice, and like I was mentioning earlier in the video, how they would purify themselves. So it's like their daily deeds are not the average Joe way to go. They're they're living the Essene way, the sadhanas, the communions, and all of this relationship with nature that the Essenes naturally would have. But also, again, during their conception of a child, they're singing praises, saying mantras or prayers that are, hey, come on in, high vibe souls, like ready, come down here. This is a good anchor spot because that soul knows that it's gonna be ready to go, rather than born into a place of darkness, which fortunately, so many of us do come from because of the fact that this world is so dark and all of our families and parents have fallen so far. But like the good book says, even a first generation immaculate conception baby can bring in tremendous light, and that is definitely what I am aiming for. New family traditions start with you. It's a great way to kind of end this Heritage Day theme message is that yeah, it's important what we pass on to the future, and we can be part of that immaculate conception where we're purifying ourselves and then having that intent when we conceive and raise that child. Super excited about that and to talk about it. I hope that you have a wonderful day. May God and the goddess bless